As I've said before, I'm not really a football fan, but recently, of course, we are coming up to the World Cup in Qatar. Probably, as you may already know, I think been a couple of, I think the FIFA documentary has certainly exposed the very, should we say, big money dealings going on behind there. And of course, there is even many rumors going on still behind about some of the awful conditions that people have been used to even build these stadiums. And why on earth are you having it in Qatar, where if you were to hold the event during the day, it may be too hot to even play the game? And of course, that's just potentially the location and even problems that players are going to face on the pitch. But of course, off the pitch, things are, shall we say, going in an interesting direction as well. Because first of all, you've got David Beckham and potentially his fight with Joe Lycett, a fantastic comedian. And I think Joe Lycett is absolutely in the right to sort of not only do this, but to really bring attention to this. Now, of course, um, you know, I'm not gay, so I'll believe Joe Lycett when he says that, that David Beckham is this, big, sort of gay icon. I'm not 100% sure if he is or not, but like I say, I'll let Joe Lycett sort of, be the judge, certainly on that one. But of course, the big one is that he is offering sort of, 10 grand for basically Beckham to sort of pull out of his sponsorship of being the brand ambassador for Qatar to this World Cup, mostly because, of course, of the gay rights issues that are going on in Qatar. So I think that is perfectly fine for something for Joe Lycett to do. And so far, Beckham has not responded. I think yesterday was indeed the deadline for him to, well, respond. So as far as I'm aware, that money potentially will have been shredded. But it's not the only, shall we say, well, brand, because again, Beckham is a massive brand in many ways, not just as obviously as a personality and his sort of fame, but obviously the wealth he has sort of built up with that, brand Beckham. But also we have BrewDog as well. And bizarrely launching a sort of anti-sponsorship campaign against the World Cup. And if you've known or followed anything about the whole BrewDog scandal, sort of you have the big what was it now, the sort of big revelations about what it was actually like to sort of work at BrewDog. And not only is there the sort of the massive website with listings of just what's been going on in the company, which are really shocking when you read about it, but there was I think there was a documentary not too long ago about it, about sort of going over some of those allegations. Those themselves are quite shocking. So it's really weird to see BrewDog try to sort of get in on this when it itself has a lot of problems within its internal company that is still not yet really fully sorted out. So we're going to go diving into this because I think this is a PR stunt that has probably backfired, and certainly by a lot of people doesn't really seem to be, shall we say, good for the company as a whole. So before we go into this and talking about this, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below there are links to my Patreon page and an automation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much for watching and supporting the channel. So we go to the London Economic with their story on this. With the title of BrewDog's latest PR stunt is wrapped in self-interest. It's almost absurd. Sorry. So the Scottish craft beer company BrewDog has launched an anti-sponsorship campaign for the Qatar World Cup, saying that it will donate the profits of all lost lagers sold during the tournament to charities fighting human rights abuses. On the surface, the move appears to be an admirable and, in typical BrewDog fashion, has been backed up by the pithy marketing slogan mocking the division to host successive tournaments in companies with very dubious track records on civil liberties. And of course, that point is certainly beyond debate. This week, a Qatar ambassador described homosexuality as damaging to the mind, while the country's ill torment of its construction workers in the build up to the tournament has been widely documented. But for BrewDog to take a punchy position on its staff welfare is ballsy to say the least, given that only last year it was forced to apologize for creating a culture of fear in the business. In an open letter signed by over 100 staff, both past and present, employees wrote of being treated like a human was sadly not always a given for those working at BrewDog. The letter said that working at the company led staff to become mentally ill and accused the brewery of vanity project PR campaigns, such as when they pointed to the firm's desire to save the planet while making use of a private jet. BrewDog's latest PR stunt has undoubtedly fallen foul of that again. While the craft brewers have promised to donate the profits of the sales of its lost lager, it makes no mention, of course, of the money that they will make from the sale of other, often extraordinary priced beers that will be sold in its bars, largely thanks to the fact that it will be airing all World Cup games. Once again, it would seem that the firm has become unstuck by a campaign so wrapped up in self-interest it's almost absurd. As City AM noted in today's editorial, in the world of modern businesses, consumers are not interested in ad campaigns and rhetoric, but by what you're actually doing. So, yeah, I think this is going to backfire on BrewDog again, and it's shocking that they would take such a stance on sort of workers' rights, and hey, maybe you should treat your staff fairly when, as it said, only a year ago. In fact, we went over it when it happened. Of all the sort of the allegations and stuff that has happened since then, and that, by the way, has been still ongoing. They have promised to sort of make changes, but whether they will make changes, we don't know. Unfortunately, I think it's a bit sad that such a sort of company that sort of prided itself on being sort of um, different and different can't even seem to get the basics right when it comes to sort of treating staff, with some dignity and respect, which I think is a real shame for what has essentially become quite a big brand. And unfortunately, once again, it's another ad campaign that seems to, well, be backfiring quite well. Quite well deserved on them, shall we say. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a notification link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.